Welcome to Excel Beyond Boundaries, episode number 7 with Jessica Humphrey, who is the owner of Monar Media and also an athlete with a very unique fitness journey. So I'm grateful for you to join me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Definitely. Just to start off, what inspired you to begin your fitness journey years back? I'm gonna jump right in.
It was around the pandemic, actually. Like, I grew up very active. My dad really wanted a son growing up, threw me into every single sport he could. But after high school, I fell into serving and I kind of fell into a really bad crowd of like just not being in a healthy environment, essentially. The pandemic, I was unemployed for a while because everything was shut down. So I didn't have a job and I was very bored. So I picked up running. I found like ankle weights I had around the house and started lifting with those. And then from there, I just completely took off. I left my serving job, started working for a local supplement company, and then from there, like everything is expanded. I learned more, I was around the right people, and I fell into more and more and tried different things along the way. That's how I got to where I am now.
It's amazing how fitness is such a keystone habit where you started with running and then in working out and then working for a supplement company, changing your crowd, your circle, and how it affects all areas of your life.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's why I'm very big at like you are I forgot what the exact quote is, but you are like the three people that you keep around you. Like you are the people you keep in your circle. So if you want to be the people you are, like people you have in your circle, keep those people around you. It's incredibly important who you surround yourself with.
That's good advice. Absolutely. How would you describe your fitness journey in one word, would you say?
A roller coaster. I would say
I like that.
it's never like I like to say like no one's progress and no one's journey is ever one straight like you start here and you end up here. Like I've had lulls where I have no motivation, I have no drive, I've been depressed, like I've been anxious, I've had really, hard things happen in life where my fitness just falls completely off. But when I find it again and like when I've kind of grounded myself and gotten back to a point where like I got to do this for me to get me out of this, that like completely changes like everything tenfold for me. So definitely a roller coaster, but a good roller coaster, a fun one, I'd say.
I like that because a lot of times in our head we think, point A to point B, this is my journey, this is how I see it, but then life just throws you curveballs, injuries, or, life priority shift. So that's a great way to put it. It's
Mhm.
a lot of people might not realize that it's a part of life and it's common to fall off and get back on.
Exactly. And that's the one thing, like a lot of people who are starting for New Year's as well, like are gonna have that motivation, that drive immediately for the first couple weeks, months, like however long. And then typically something happens, like job gets really difficult, family life, something pops up, like you have personal things pop up and people fall off and they don't realize that those lulls are very normal. People who do fitness as a regular activity who seem like beyond normal have the same problems. David Goggins, for example, like, you read his books, like he says he has bad days mentally, but he'll still try to push through it regardless.
True, true. I agree completely. It's funny, I realized more recently where when life really got crazy to just scale it back and do what I could. And it's amazing how doing the smallest thing allows you to maintain instead of just falling off completely. Like one workout a week or even going for a walk. So yeah, I like that point.
Exactly. Like any sort of movement is medicine, whether it's something very minimal, like still trying to get out, getting sunshine, all of that's incredibly important for your health.
That's awesome. No, completely agree. What would you say? It seems like you have definitely a deeper idea for why you train. Do you have like a fundamental why?
I like to say like movement is medicine, like it's like one quote that I've said for a while. And I look at the people around me, whether it be people who are in my family, people who are not in my family, people who are older. In general, like longevity is incredibly important to me. So having a long, healthy life. Another really big reason why I want to is like I don't have kids, I don't have a family yet, but I want to be a positive role model for my kids because I realized that when I landed into fitness and I started this fitness journey, I inspired and became a role model for my sister, who is three years younger than I am, a little bit, less than three. But to see that I can change, a little bit in someone else, like that means the absolute world to me. So to continue this journey to one, like inspire the people around me, but also to be a positive role model, have my children look up to me, be like, I would love to be like mom. Like, not, I wish mom wasn't lazy. Like, I wish mom would get up and go for walks. I wish mom would play with me. Like, I want to be that really cool soccer mom that runs after my kids, like on the days they have practice. That's what I want to be.
I like that. No, that's a beautiful fundamental why. That's very good. What would you say if you could give one piece of advice to someone just getting started on their journey, since we all started somewhere, what would you
Yeah.
say that is?
To find that why, like genuinely, like not to like I want a better body, but to find the deeper reason. For me, those were my two whys, but another was because like I've struggled on and off with mental health for a long time, whether it be like various things that happen in childhood or various things that happen in adulthood, whatever it may be. People struggle with something, people have something going on. So finding a deeper reason that really connects to your core, your soul, your being, whatever you believe in, whatever that may be, to give yourself that reason is incredibly helpful. And also to find something that you enjoy, and not just to find something that everyone does. So if you're not a big fan of lifting, try dancing, going for walks, going for a bike ride, learning to skateboard, like something, whatever it may be, just find something that you enjoy and you can stick with, because consistency is the most important thing when it comes to trying to do this for, the rest of your life.
That's great insight. That really is because if you don't enjoy it, it's not going to be sustainable in the long term.
Exactly.
Definitely. And it's interesting that you say find what makes you happy because that kind of goes into mindfulness and self-awareness, self-discovery. So kind of since fitness is holistic in nature, I like your answer because it makes people dig and really examine what makes me happy, how can I be active in my life. I like
Exactly.
that. Huh. Where was that question I was going to ask you? What do you think the most important thing, this is kind of piggybacking off the last question, what do you think the absolute most important thing is? Well, aside from fundamental why, what else would be the most important thing for someone just getting started, in your opinion?
I would say an accountability partner. And whether you have already someone set up who can be that partner for you, or if you are not someone who like is internally motivated, which I will happily admit, I have times where I am off the reservation, have no motivation whatsoever, to find an environment, a community, a group, whatever that may be, to continue to one inspire you, for you to be around that energy. Like for me, run clubs have been something that have been really good for me. I was training for a triathlon for a while and I didn't want to run. Like I absolutely hated running for a while during my training. And I would show up once a week and be pushed by people, be like given props, like people would want to run further distance with me or want to go faster with me. Like to surround yourself with people is incredibly important, especially like I mentioned before, the three, four, five people you keep around you are the people who you're going to want to inspire, like aspire to be, and you will eventually become. So same thing with fitness. If you have people who you look up to or people who that you see at the gym or the clubs, or not the clubs, but the run clubs, then
Yeah,
put yourself around them and that will really, really help you, especially when you're starting out.
nice, nice, definitely. Great feedback. That reminds me, Pathos, I came across their community recently, and they have a run club too, right? Locally in Sarasota?
Yeah, so their run club, it's more of like an event. They don't have like the run club weekly. It's, I believe, and don't quote me on it because I'm not like an official member. The Pathos community is actually only men. They have basically co-ed days once a month. So they have like a beach workout for both male, females, and children on Saturdays. And then they on occasion also have a run club as well.
Ah, okay.
But those typically the majority of the pathos, at least from what I have been around and have seen and been communicated from the people who run it, it's mostly a male group, but they do co-ed things every once in a while.
We need a run club here in Sarasota. I've heard of the 99 Bottles one, but
That's the idea.
it's a great one from what it seems like, but the downside is it's not on a weekend. If it was on like a Saturday morning, I feel like everybody would flock to it.
I can tell you about one. A girl I know, Catherine, who recently did the New York Marathon or Boston Marathon. I forgot which one it was. I think it was New York. She hosts a run club on Saturdays called Move Sarasota. It's
Really?
in Waterside area. Move Sarasota. I believe it's 8 a.m. on Saturdays. I've seen her post about it. I haven't had time because of work, but I do know people who go there. So that is one that's available.
Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna write that down actually and check that out. But
Is there?
good, good. I love it out there, Waterside Place too. It's beautiful.
I've been out there, but I'll have to check it out soon, especially with the run club.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask you, when it comes to motivation, I know you said that you had some mental challenges and different things along your fitness journey. How do you stay motivated?
Honestly, you're not always going to be motivated. Like I don't always stay motivated. Like to be completely brutally honest, like as I said, I have times where I have dips and like I'm off the reservation, like I have no desire to do anything, but it's more like I need to do it. It's not like I want to, it's I need to because I know it will make me feel better. I know in turn it will, bring the anxiety down or it will get me a step closer to the ultimate goal at the very end, whether it's training for a certain thing or continuing the same, like I need to work on myself or be a better role model for someone. I'm never always gonna be motivated. It's learning to stay consistent for whatever the ulterior goal is at the very end of the path or journey, wherever you're going. Honestly, like I don't think there's ever an end to any of this. There never should be an end. You should be doing this for the rest of your life if this is something you're passionate about and you care about.
I like that. Would you say looking at the big picture for motivation, kind of stepping back and then assessing, your fundamental why, like you were saying, and also the benefits of, is that what you would say?
Yeah, like typically taking a step back, like reassessing and even like sometimes taking time off. Like some people you can't be 24, you're not a machine. You can't be 24/7 all year long. So sometimes taking a break, a couple days, a week. Some people take time off from the gym or running or whatever it may be to give their body a break, but also sometimes their mind needs that break too.
Definitely listening to your body.
Mhm.
That's true. For the training section, getting into the training section. So I know you just did a triathlon. So first of all, how was that experience?
It was interesting. It was my first ever triathlon, and my friend made fun of me, saying instead of doing a tiny one, you decided to do a half Ironman. And I said, well, I mean, the Ironman was on the bucket list. I figured I might as well try it. If I didn't succeed, I didn't succeed, I try again. But the training portion, like it took up so much time and dedication, and it really taught me quite a bit about myself, that whole training split that I had. Finishing it was the best feeling in the world, and I said it for like days, but I'm glad it's over. Like, I really learned a lot about myself during that race. Like I was this close to quitting and I was like, I cannot. Like I was 35 miles into the bike ride and I was dealing with an uphill bike ride with 18-mile-an-hour winds pushing against me on the right and I'm like teetering over and I tend to speak to myself out loud when I'm training really hard or when I'm in the middle of a race and I spoke out loud and I said like I can't do this anymore. And a guy rode up right beside me and says, "Yes, you can." Drove right past. And I'm like, "Well, if he says it, I have to." And I
It's a
kept going.
sign. That's amazing. Sign from the universe.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm glad it's over, but it was incredibly fulfilling, and I'm very grateful that I was able to check off another bucket list goal. I don't know if I'll do another one. I might, but kind of letting myself heal first and decide what I want to do next.
What inspired you to do that? What was the initial spur?
So I got into running and doing all this endurance stuff because I used to work for a friend of mine. He runs a landscape company down in Cape Coral area back when I was living there. He got me into running and we did a couple races together. And he said, "How about an Ironman next?" And I said, I'll think about it." And then I realized like I took a step back and I was like, I always said I always wanted to do one. And I always said that I would never be able to. But what's stopping me? Like, well, why am I saying I'm not able to try it? Like, I could try and fail, but at least I tried.
I like
So
that.
he planted the seed. I eventually left and moved back to Sarasota. He did a full Ironman a couple months back, blew me out of the water. I did a half, but still, like, I was incredibly surprised I even did it. And I'm very
Oh
grateful
yeah,
had people to inspire me and like had the people in my environment to push me to do stuff like that because I never would have.
that's amazing. And for those who don't know, the half Ironman is how far of a run, swim, and bike ride?
It's a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and a 13.1 mile run. So it's a full half marathon run at the end. In
That's
total, it's
intense.
70.3 miles. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of endurance.
Yes, yes. I like it was basically from the start time was at 7. I didn't because there was a rolling start and I'm a bit of a slower swimmer. They had like the elite triathletes go first. My swim started at like 7:50. It took me about 7.5 hours to finish the whole thing.
Whoa, 7.5 hours of constant movement, just pushing it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow.
It was a feat I never thought I'd be able to do, but if I could do this, someone else can do it. And what else can you do after?
Definitely. Would you say it has given you a different sense of confidence in belief in yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was the morning of, I was hugging my sister saying, like, I can't do this. She's like, you can. I was like, but I can't, I can't, I can't. It's like, you've trained for this. You've been like, I had so much doubt the whole time right before. And after I finished, like, I almost wept. Like, I was so happy. I was like, I actually, like, I did it. Like, I didn't think it was possible. Like, even halfway through, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is not possible. I'm not meant to be doing this. But it was a great feeling to actually
That
realize
is
I'm capable of things that I couldn't even consider.
that is so cool. And I can imagine the mental battle for 7.5 hours of just like what was going through your head the whole time.
A friend of mine gave me a bit of advice. He like not recently, but he had done Ironmans before. He said to think of it as one step at a time. So one pedal, one footfall, one stroke, 1 minute. Like try to look at it and each section and break it down as much as possible. So sometimes like all I'd be saying is like push, pull. I'd be like pushing and pulling on the bike and I'd be saying that over and over and over again because you can't listen to music. Like you have no music the whole time. So I'm 7.5 hours rough riding it, just my mind and just myself and people to talk.
Damn. Some people, don't even want to go on a 20-minute run without music. Can't imagine 7.5 hours of that.
On a 20-minute run without music. I don't know how people do it. That was brutal.
That's awesome, man. Sounds like an amazing experience for sure. Life changing.
Yes,
The
for sure.
uh the training for that, was that more steady state, more, higher reps in the gym, more long runs, long bike rides?
I actually, at the very end, took out gym completely. So for the last 3 months, I wasn't doing any lifting. If I was doing anything in the gym, it was more like core work and very like minimal full body weight. But I was trying to focus more on like just distance because I was doing a 1 day, 1 off split of swimming, biking, running. Basically, I was training as much as I could and doing like brick workouts in between. My body was so fatigued the last 2 months of training, I was exhausted. So I had to really dial it back. No gym whatsoever, which I'm very happy this is over so I can finally lift again.
You missed it.
I missed it so much.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the weight training is just such a part. But that's amazing though. No, it sounds like you did everything perfectly and you killed it. And now you're on to the next adventure, which I'm curious to ask you about. What do you think is next?
I was considering doing a marathon. I definitely want to do a marathon because at some point I would love to do whether it be like an ultra or something along those lines. My aunt is actually, she's an ultra runner, and there's one, I don't know where it is in Europe, but it's a beautiful like mountain 100-mile long run. And like I know the 100 miles sounds scary, but the view the whole time and like people who do ultras, they're not like sprint running, like they'll jog and they'll maybe like fast walk and they'll jog. It's like it's more of the experience and like to say you got it all done. But the view would be wonderful to do something like that. So training for a marathon so I can get that bucket list goal checked off at some point. Maybe do another 70.3. My body's still really sore because it was 3 days ago that I
Oh,
finished it. I'm
wow,
still
recently.
it was very recent. So I'm still recovering. Like I can finally walk normally. My shoulders are finally like less tense because I was like hunched over on a bike for hours. So I'm considering doing another one, kind of like letting the adrenaline and everything kind of pass first and kind of assess, what I want to do next.
Nice. All right. I feel like you would a competition came to mind when you were describing this. Have you heard of the High Rocks?
No, I haven't.
No, it's a weird name. HYROX, and it came to America about 5 years ago. The first one was in Miami from Germany, and now they're actually having another one in Miami coming up. My girlfriend's gonna do it with me, and then also a couple friends, and it is April 19th, I believe. But it's 1 kilometer run, then an event like a sled push. I might be saying these out of order, but it's a 1 kilometer run, then an event, 1 kilometer run, then another event. So 7 times, I believe, and the events are lunges with a certain weight, 1,000 meter row, 1,000 meter ski erg, a sled push, sled pull, farmer's carry, wall ball. So in between each one is a 1 kilometer run. So it's like purely endurance based. I think you'd like that.
CrossFit, like that sounds fun. I definitely need to get more into lifting though before I do something like that. I definitely gotta build up some strength. But yes, that sounds wonderful. My friend mentioned I have a relationship with a gym here and they're wanting to do some like something similar, like a CrossFit, like endurance thing. They're like, you'd be perfect. Let me build some strength up first. Like I feel really weak right now, actually. Like despite doing everything I did, I am incredibly weak upper body strength right now. So I have to get myself back in.
That's all right though. Yeah, you'll get it back, very quickly. Muscle memory, you'll get it right back for sure. I know it's hard to maintain doing a lot of mileage.
Yeah, I don't feel like I look like myself right now. Like I've definitely like I'm ready to get back into the gym and like really dial back in.
Nice. The desired training style, would you say, is cross training or more so? I know you like lifting weights. I know you like doing these endurance competitions. What is your desired training style?
I would say I enjoy a good mix. Like I'm currently trying to figure that out right now because the Ironman was more of like, as I said, like a bucket list goal. I just checked it off, but I really enjoyed every portion of the training of it. So I'm gonna have to find a way to balance everything. So definitely want to do a lot of gym training again. I miss it. I want to get back to it as fast as I can. So once I'm cleared, I'm supposed to take the rest of this month off, and then January 1st, I can join everyone and start the gym again. And then definitely going to be doing the swimming, the biking, and the running just more sporadically until I really figure out what my next goal is going to be. And then from there, rearrange what I need to do in order to accomplish that goal. So for now, it's going to kind of be like loosey goosey and allowing myself to enjoy the gym and still do some endurance stuff. And I love to dance too. So I'm going to be spending some time dancing as well. And then from there, once I decide and finalize a goal, then I'll rearrange.
Sounds good. So a little bit of intuitive training. So listening to your body, lifting, running, some endurance sprinkled in there, cross training,
Yes.
some dancing, and then once you find that next goal, you're all in.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's how I
Sounds
like to be.
good. Do you have any pre-workout rituals or lucky charms? Like, do you have a certain mental exercise or anything you do before a competition or intense training session?
For competition, I meditate. I meditated before the one I did. It's more like I wouldn't say like the Buddhist meditation, but I just sit, try to ground myself, sit on the ground, try to find something that like really brings me back to center because as I mentioned before, like mental health is one thing that I've struggled with forever. So I get really anxious very easily. And I was very anxious the morning of the race. So I just sat crisscross applesauce on the sand and just put my hands on the sand and just tried to like breathe as deeply and for as long as I could. Training itself, all I gotta do is pop in a good song and I'm good. Like I pop in a good song, got my headphones on full blast, and I'm ready to go. Like I will stretch, I'll stretch beforehand. I'll add that in. But besides that, I don't really need much.
Oh, okay, good, good. No, it sounds like you really know yourself well, and so you know what gets you pumped up and focused, which is great.
It just takes time to get there. I mean, it's trial and error trying to figure it out like most people will be.
True. And that actually leads me into what is your go-to song or I don't want to say playlist necessarily, but if you have like a genre to sum it up or a particular song, like one guy, for example, a recent podcast told me there's like a British rapper and he said the song just got him so pumped up and I still have to research search that one up because it sounds amazing. Yeah, but
It depends. So I have different moods. I have like an old school throwback playlist that has like Sir Duke and Billy Joel and like some older songs and then or like even Michael Jackson on there. And then I have newer stuff that's more I would say more like pop hip hop, and then I will sometimes dabble into country as well. So it depends on the mood. I know I'm all over the place. I listen to classical music for fun, um, all over the place. But the most recent playlist I was listening to was more of like the old school, and the one song that really, really like it's just the way that like the beat hits with the footfalls when you run. It's Man Eater. I forgot who it's by. It's a super old song.
yeah, I know that song.
You know the song? That
Yeah.
song, it's just like the way like the bump, bump, bump. It's like it's the exact beat of my footfalls. And when I need a motivating song, like that's the one I put on because it's perfect.
She's a man. That one? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It does have a good beat to it.
So like it's the beat, the footfalls are perfect. And then another one, I love NF. So when I'm like really feeling it, that's what I listen to.
Green Lights or Destiny, like which song is your favorite? Because I like NF as well.
I like running. Running's a really good one.
Running from NF?
NF, yeah.
Because I know K has a song called Running, but I didn't know NF had a song called Running.
It's from the playlist Hope. It's from the album Hope. Hmm.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. Hope is another good one. Hope and Running are my two favorites.
Been running NF. Huh. I'm gonna go back and rewind this and write those down and check that out.
Those
Awesome. Hope and running. And you like the beat or what is it in specifically?
more the message, honestly. Like it's just the words. The words really speak to me. The one Running, it's about like him running from his old past self, and that
Ah,
like it really settled with me as like because like most people, like you've lived different lives. Like I've lived so many lives already. Like that's what you mentioned, like I kind of know myself. It's like I've spent time to really like dissect the different variations of me so I can get to know myself more. And that one really hits me. Like when I hear it, it's just him talking about like how he has to leave his past self behind and really grow up and like become this new version of himself. And it really hits home. Like I've had chills right now just talking about
It's powerful. Yeah, no, it's so true that you have to completely shed the old you in order to step into the new you.
it. Exactly.
And his music has so much meaning. It really does.
I know. Like if any artist speaks to me on like a deep soul level, like it's him for sure. And his music videos, oh my goodness, like an artist, an absolute artist.
I've never seen a music video, but I've got to check him out.
Do you have to now?
I'm gonna go on YouTube after this. So jumping around a little bit, if you could create your own signature workout, what would it be called, and generally what would it be? You don't have to get into necessarily sets and reps, but style of training, and then like what name would you call it? Just for a fun question.
It would be some form of cross training. I would say probably some sort of endurance plus lifting. I would say more functional training when it comes to lifting. I realize that like when it comes to endurance sports like running for example, you really need to like work on isolated movements when it comes to certain legs. For a name, it's a good question.
It's a tough one, and if you don't have one now, think about it, and you can always tell me a little later.
Favorite quote's movement is medicine. I don't think that's a great name, but like that's what I'm gonna stick to. Movement is medicine has been like a quote that I've said for the longest time. So I would say something along those lines. I would
All right.
of that.
Yeah, I can see that as a title.
Yeah, I would try to keep like a good mix of either running or some form of endurance sports to really help with the heart, and then functional lifting and like some like gym lifting as well is what I would try to meld together.
Combine. Okay, that sounds good. Movement is medicine. I like that.
We'll think some cool later, but we'll slap them one on for now.
That sounds good. The favorite exercise, would you say, if you could do one exercise for the rest of your life, which I know isn't,
Mm,
we wouldn't want to have to do that, but if you had
yeah.
to choose one, what would it be? Favorite
That's it.
exercise?
Are you specifying like when it comes to gym exercise, or just like overall all exercises?
It's funny that you say that because I haven't thought to differentiate, so I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna have to split that into two questions: exercise and in general, and then let's do a second part with like movement exercise, like type of exercise, and then if you were lifting weights,
Hmm.
what weight training exercise would it be?
If I had to pick one that I could do for the rest of my life and do nothing else, it would be running, most likely.
Okay,
Because it is incredibly good for your overall health and your heart. And that's like one of my big reasons is I want to live a long, healthy life. So I would pick that for sure.
running.
Like you see 80-year-olds who run and like they're in the best shape I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I want to be like you. Like I want to look like that when I'm older. Like whatever you're doing, I need that. So
That's
most of
true.
it's running, honestly. For that, when it comes to the gym, I love a good back day. So I'd say back day. I like bent over rows.
Okay, all
Rows.
right.
So I would say rows.
Single arm or like barbell?
I like single arm,
Okay, and then low row with like a neutral grip or high row with elbow out?
neutral grip.
Okay, cool. That's very functional.
I tried. I tried.
That's a good one. Yeah, very functional. It applies, yeah, carries over very well in life for sure. That's cool. And oh, that reminds me of the running thing when you're talking about the older ladies. It's funny because I would do these obstacle course races, and there were these two older guys in their mid 50s who would always beat me. They would be running their whole lives. Like they would tell me that they began in the Marines, they were active their whole lives. They would always beat me, and we would finish, top 10 or like up
Yeah.
there, and I could never catch either one of them. It's crazy.
Well, it's because they've been doing it their whole life. Their body has literally gotten so used to it. Like, continue and you'll be them when you're older.
Crazy how age is just a number and the body just keeps adapting.
Exactly, exactly. Your body emotion stays in motion. Keep moving.
It all comes back to that phrase for sure.
Yeah.
For diet, do you have any specific types of diet or recipes if you do?
Diet wise, I just a very high protein diet. Like I
Okay.
don't cut anything out. Like I even eat sweets. I like enjoy a sweet treat, don't get me wrong. When it comes to diet in general, like I try to just make sure I hit enough protein. I don't count anything.
Okay.
I was anorexic growing up, so like counting calories and those things is something that I don't like to really dabble in. I don't find it necessary because I'm overall healthy as long as I'm hitting enough protein and getting enough carbs and like I'm fueling my body perfectly. Recipe wise, I love to cook when I have the time. On occasion, I'll like collab with a couple like local meat companies and I'll do like fun recipe videos that I'll throw up on my page every once in a while. My favorite things to make, I love like a good, like when it comes to easy stuff, a good air fried chicken fajita. So like chicken, peppers, onions, throw in the air fryer for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Super easy. I'll send you the link for the recipe if you'd like. And then I just like put with rice, sour cream, avocados, and it's perfect. Like super easy, takes less than 30 minutes to make. And like I'm a very big fan of like high protein, healthy, fast recipes because I work, like I have no time in the day to make anything. And if I do have the time, it's like all on the weekends when I like have a really chill weekend, I can like make a fancier meal, which usually never happens.
More so efficiency.
Yes, efficiency is
I
key.
see.
And I don't like to meal prep because I don't like food sitting past like 2 or 3 days. So I like to make fresh meals.
No, that sounds great. And I agree with you on the just intuitive eating. You're listening to your body and not really thinking about tracking anything. So I feel
Mhm.
like your body tells you. If you're hungry, eat more. And if you're craving something salty, maybe you need sodium.
Mhm.
I feel like the body tells you. I agree on that. That's cool. Vic, I know you said you have a nice balance, but when you do go all out, do you have a favorite cheat meal?
Ooh. Favorite dessert is a cuatro leches from Pollo Tropical. I love those. Like I could down 5 of those in an instant. Like I could it's crazy how much I love those things. Those are my favorite desserts. When it comes to cheat meals, like a meal itself, I love a good like homey meal. So like a chicken pot pie, like a shepherd's pie. Not that they're really cheat meals or any sort,
Yeah.
like I'll eat anything. I guess like cheat, maybe like Chick-fil-A.
Aw, that's not too bad either.
It's like I don't like my stomach since I've been eating healthy for as long as I have, like when I do eat things that are more processed or like heavier in oils or things like that, not that like I'm against any of it, my stomach can't handle it very well, so I feel sick. So when I crave anything bad, it's more like Chick-fil-A or like I make the shepherd's pie or I go to like, Denny's or something like that and get something nice. But that's pretty much about it.
So basically, normal food for most people is your cheat meal.
A cheat meal.
Sounds pretty healthy. That's good. Speaking of tres leches, that reminds me, my girlfriend's it's her favorite too. And
She
my
is
aunt,
my
yeah, for real.
for Christmas now.
It is the best dessert. Tres leches is amazing. But
Mhm.
you've got to, I was gonna say in Miami they have the best tres leches, but there's a Cuban place here. I think they have tres leches on the menu. I can't remember if it was that place. I'm gonna have to ask her, but there's a place that has amazing tres leches.
Oh my God, I love that. I can't wait. Please let me know if you ask her and she finds it.
I will. I'll definitely follow up with you on that. Getting into the last section, lifestyle sections. Do you actually? I'm gonna skip that one. What is the coolest gym you've ever been to, or your favorite gym? So either or, if you traveled and came across an amazing gym somewhere, in a different state, whichever answer.
I haven't traveled to gyms before, but I would love to. My favorite gym, honestly, like there's a local gym that I go to, the Core. I have really fell into like cold plunge and sauna, and a lot of gyms that I go to, like even the local like commercial gym doesn't have anything nice like that. So for recovery and for that, I found really nice. I haven't personally used the gym itself besides for like stretching and training, but I do enjoy the environment they have there quite a bit. Coolest gym so far that I've found it locally and any gym I've gone to is the Core. I do hear there's some really cool ones in Tampa. I know there's wonderful ones out in Dallas. Have yet to travel out there, or be invited to one, but maybe one day I'll be able to venture out there. Just haven't had the opportunity yet.
Yeah, no, definitely cool to travel and check out different gyms. But that one you're talking about, I came across it. I think through Pathos. I clicked on an event and it said that they had one at that place, and I was researching it, and it seems really cool. So it's like cross training, not CrossFit though.
No, it's not CrossFit. So they have like a workout of the day. They'll put their workouts on the board. They have coaches there, so basically they'll coach you through the workout. There's no workout times or like class times. You can just show up, do the workout. You can use the cold plunge, the sauna. Like I love the fact that they have the cold plunge because it's very rare to find that. Plus,
Oh
it's
yeah.
plus a gym you can use. So like all in one for me, like that's wonderful. I will never go back to any other gym besides that.
That sounds nice, but I don't understand. There's no class time, so they just have people who just train you on the fly?
Yep. So
Interesting.
walk right in whenever you want during business hours. You can walk right in. There's someone there waiting and they'll walk you through. They'll give you adjustments to whatever. Like if you have a shoulder injury or something along those lines, they'll adjust the workout for you or they'll make it so it's easier on the body. And like you can adjust to like different things as well. So if you want to do barbell versus dumbbell or like kettlebell, etc., you can make whatever adjustments you want as well.
I feel like that's the gym of the future. Just no stress. People just flow in when they want to, flow out when they want to.
Environment's wonderful. Like the people are so nice there. I love it.
That is really cool. I want to check that out for sure.
They
Huh.
have a week free trial, I believe. So you have to definitely, you take advantage of that.
All right. And are you a morning person for workouts or an afternoon person? I love asking this because it's like 50-50.
I'm actually both. So it depends. Like it truly depends on one, the time of year. So if it's like this time of year, I prefer mornings because it gets late so early. Sometimes, and also depends on what I'm doing. I prefer to run in the evenings and afternoons. I prefer to lift in the mornings.
Okay.
I like one to be able to kind of like let the stress out of the day through my workout, but I don't like the busyness of the gym in the afternoons. So
Yes, I completely understand that.
I am still active in the mornings. Like I'll go for a walk or I'll do some yoga. Prefer not to start my day out with going heavy because then I get a little bit tired like midday. So I prefer to like start with an easier morning, do my routine, get a walk in, do a training if I need to fit it in first, and then go through the day. But as I said, prefer in the evenings now. I used to be like a 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning workout girly.
Ooh,
It was brutal and like
rough.
it was rough. It was very rough. So I'm glad that that's not really my routine anymore. I give props to people who do it. It was a wonderful kind of lifestyle for a while, and I really enjoyed it because it really taught me a lot about like mental heart like toughness essentially and like prioritizing your health and like your mental, your basically your fitness as well. But I really enjoy being able to allocate time to recovery. So I spend the mornings doing after I sleep, I wake up, I'll do like yoga, stretch, red light, etc. And then eat my breakfast, go about my day, and then do my hardcore workout before I fall asleep.
It's a good routine, and that was like perfect timing too because that was my next question. But it is funny touching on the gym in the evening. It feels like a club. Like it literally feels like going to Amped. You walk in and it's got the fluorescent lights with the beat.
I'm good. I'm good. The music, I don't know what they play sometimes there. I was like, I can't do this. Yeah, I try to get amped. I'll go to them in the mornings.
I yeah, no, it's funny how at night you just see people cluster together. It looks like you're at some nightclub. It's funny. So the habits you've built to support your fitness and lifestyle goals, would you say the red light therapy, cold plunges, a combination of putting the work in and recovering basically?
Yes, I'm still learning and understanding quite a bit about red light. I don't fully understand it enough, but I do know there are quite a bit of benefits, especially when it comes to recovery. So I've introduced it recently. The cold plunge, same, introduced it recently. I was actually very anti cold. Like I have a fear of cold, but my body was becoming so inflamed and so swollen and wasn't recovering fast enough from the training I was doing for the Ironman. So someone just said, just grow a pair basically and put yourself in a cold plunge and see how you feel. Like if you feel significantly better, you feel the inflammation has gone down, it's something that you need to be doing. Because I was doing sauna, but the cold plunge wasn't something I'd ever consider because I hated it.
Oh yeah.
But since I started, one, like I feel much better. Like I threw myself in yesterday for 10 minutes after I finally got back to town. I felt amazing after I got out. Like my body didn't feel as tense anymore. Like I felt like, the release of basically like the strain on my body that I've had from the race definitely like alleviated somewhat, not like fully. But trying to implement those things have been really beneficial for me. Like I thought it was a bunch of like, voodoo. It wasn't anything like people were actually like, we're going to find benefits from, or it was some, hoorah stuff, but it genuinely has made a difference for me, at least what I felt so far.
So you really realized your recovery was much quicker with the cold plunges?
Yeah, I
Huh.
feel a lot faster with the cold plunges.
Oh, I've got to check that out as well because same thing. I hear about the benefits, but in my mind I'm like, is it really that good, that beneficial?
And I thought I was like people just like wanting to act cool. Like I can throw myself
Yeah.
water and like look at me, but it's there's actually a lot more to it. Like one, it helps me with breathing and like getting myself to a calm state. And that was the one thing that like not that most people ever are going to want to do this, but it helped me with the swim of my Ironman because the swim was in like 60-degree water and I'm used to cold plunging in 50, even sometimes lower. So my body got used to that cold temperature really fast. But two, learning to breathe and calm yourself in a state where you're in kind of like a panic mode when you're in the cold plunge is a really good skill altogether. Like it's a great skill, honestly. Like you'll sit and like you'll try to breathe and calm yourself when you're stressed and you're panicking, and to be able to do it on your own by forcing yourself into something that you don't want to be in is a great skill to have.
I never thought that all of that benefit came from cold plunges. In my mind, I was just thinking, okay, the cold shock benefit, health benefit, and that was it. Not necessarily the mental benefit of learning how to breathe under pressure and then all of that. That's wow.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it either until like recently. As I mentioned, like I have a fear of cold. I hate being cold. Like I keep my apartment at like a certain high temperature. People walk in, it's freaking hot in here. I'm like, "Right." But I would never dunk my head under into the cold plunge. And I recently like I was like, if I don't face this and I don't push myself to do this, like I might be getting the benefits here down. But this needs to at least dunk in every once in a blue moon. You have to force yourself pushing yourself to have a little bit of courage to do things you don't want to do is also a great thing. Like cold plunge, most people refuse to, most people hate it. I was one of those people for for many years actually. Until I basically had to come to terms with I kind of have to, or else I'm not gonna heal as fast as I need to for my training.
That's cool. I love how it really dives in with the mental side of that. And that reminds me, have you heard of the mammalian diver reflex? Where it's really interesting. It's in humans, and so when your face comes in contact with cold water, it basically slows your heart rate. And so that's why when you plunge in cold water, your heart rate instantly slows. And the point of it is to conserve oxygen so you can hold your breath longer. It's amazing.
I didn't know that. Okay, I have to dunk my head in more often.
I don't know if there's, other benefits because that's just a temporary reflex to, potentially save your life in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you Google it, mammalian diver reflex, it's fascinating. It's like instantly your heart rate slows to conserve oxygen, and then yeah, it's just crazy. You feel the difference.
I'll really have to look into that. That's interesting. So it might encourage me to put my face in more.
Any extra motivation.
Oh, that's all I.
I hate cold water too. Actually, to jump around a little bit, I meant to ask you a couple, about two or three final questions. It was a mental question, mindset question. How has fitness impacted your mental health and overall well-being? Because I know that it was such a powerful part of your journey.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, like to be completely transparent, last year around this time, like I was in the worst mental place I've been in a very, very long time. And
Really?
finding fitness again and like being able to motivate myself again through it really helped pull me out because I was at a point where like I didn't want to look at myself. Like I was depressed. I didn't have confidence in myself. I went through a pretty traumatic thing last year. And it took everything out of me. So to be able to find something to pull me out of such a low point, to find purpose through it, because that's essentially what fitness gave me, is it gave me a sense of purpose that like I can do something for myself, even though I don't like myself or I don't value myself right now. Like, the more you continue to do this, the more you will find value, the more you will care for yourself. You essentially are caring for yourself by working out or doing these things that you didn't want to be doing because you're not motivated. So
Absolutely.
it's been very helpful for my mental health journey.
And thank you for sharing that. And it's really going to help a lot of people because that's very common. I feel like most people struggle on their own, and so we don't realize how common that is. For people that have those mental battles, and yeah, so that's amazing that you overcame that. And I actually have to put you in contact with my girlfriend because she has an amazing story as well, and she's all into the mental health side of things. With she has a podcast as well called Inherent Success. But anyways, yeah, you both would talk for a long time about all of that.
I'm sure
But thank you for sharing that. Seriously, I appreciate that.
trans is the best thing.
Thank you. A couple more I know I jumped around a little bit. If you could give some advice to someone who's struggling with self-doubt, so kind of following up on that last one,
Yeah.
What helped you? I know fitness helped you, but was there anything aside from the fundamental why with fitness and getting into fitness and taking those steps, like any mental side of things, like starting reading every day or, any daily habits in that sense, or mindset shifts?
Journaling has been something that's been very.
Journaling. Oh,
So like brain dumping, my therapist a while ago had told me it is like just a brain dump. If you have like the self-doubt thing is something that like I struggle with constantly, even as a business owner. Like I continually doubt every single thing I do, thinking it's never good enough. It is what it is. The self-doubt, like being able to, because I can't vent to someone every single day, like to be able to vent, to yourself essentially. That's one thing. So journaling, the thing that I forgot who had this idea. I read it in a book and I don't think it might have been the Iron Cowboy. I'm not 100% sure. But they basically said like they got a little like recorder and they would just talk to it. They would just hit record and they would talk to it and they would just basically brain dump that way. So a way to like get over that like negative thought is just to let it out. However,
interesting.
wherever you can, whether it be writing, whether it be talking to an inanimate object, you can record yourself on your phone, you could go to a therapist, you could talk to your best friend, your partner, whoever that may be, whoever your trusted person is, to be able to get it out of in here, get it out of there so you can push it aside, assess it, and then move past it is the best way to get over any sort of like mental, whatever it may be. It takes maybe a couple times to get over it fully, maybe months, sometimes even years, depending on what it is. But to be able to process it, you got to start something.
Interesting. I never knew that, but it seems very effective for sure.
Yeah, yeah, the brain dumping is very, very beneficial.
Huh. And this is random, but this just popped in my head. There's a book that you would love. It's my favorite book. It's called. It doesn't have anything to do with magic, but it's called Into the Magic Shop, and it's by. I'll send that to you. But anyways, the point of the story is it's a neurosurgeon. It's written from his perspective. It's his life story, but it's a neurosurgeon who found out that the heart sends more feedback to the brain than the brain does to the heart, and basically on how to like follow your heart. When you were sharing the intuitive side of things. I feel like you would love this book. It's an amazing book. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know who it's by, and I'll look it up and order it from Amazon.
All right. And my last question. I'm still working on getting smooth on these podcasts.
It's okay.
Thank you. And I'm learning what to do and not to do. So I have to remember not to have sleepy time tea before.
I actually have mine on the pot right now. I'm just waiting for it to boil for after this is done.
That's funny. So yeah, basically to sum things up, what would you say is the first step someone should take who's just getting started on their fitness journey or just getting back into fitness for my final question?
I would say, like I said before, to find something that you will enjoy. And even if it's trying one thing, realizing you don't like it and trying something else, and to keep trying something until you find something that in your heart, in your soul, whatever, that little good feeling is, wherever you feel it, to make sure you have that. And then you find either a group to do it, a person to do it with, whatever that may be, whether it be online, in person, whatever it is, to have people to hold you accountable, people to motivate you, people around you. Fitness as well also includes nutrition. So when it comes to nutrition, you don't have to like do a crazy deep dive, but looking at what you have around the house and maybe taking an assessment and saying, hey, maybe we don't eat as much vegetables as we should. Maybe we should add more into our diet. Maybe we should add a salad with our meals. Maybe I need to eat more protein. How much protein am I even eating? And then really like taking a look and try to assess that, because in order for you to feel good and to look good, diet and nutrition is also incredibly important for you. So that, then I've mentioned mental health as well, but fitness, nutrition, mental health, I believe all go hand in hand. So one, finding your why for here, but also finding your why for yourself. So whatever that may be, whether it's said like brain dumping, journaling, looking at yourself a little bit more and trying to figure that out, I find is a great way for you to find your why and also to keep pushing yourself when you finally hit those lulls, because you will hit them some point in your fitness journey. I have a million times, to remember why you have those whys there and like learn more about yourself to help you get out of that lull and back up again.
Thank you for that. That was all very insightful, and you've given a lot of great feedback. Seriously,
I
there's
appreciate
gonna be a lot of quotables on this one.
it. Good.
What is one fitness myth that you have heard in your along your fitness journey that has now been debunked? And surprise, I know I said that was the last one, but a couple more.
I would say that you can't grow muscle and, put on size when you're doing endurance sports. I have definitely gained mass and muscle in various areas that I didn't think was possible because of endurance, and also like going hand in hand with endurance and lifting as well. So I would say like the myth that hybrid athletes are only skinny and that,
Yes.
can't be a runner and a lifter at the same time is completely untrue. Like you can do whatever you set your mind to. You just have to, one, like everyone's body's different. So to make sure your nutrition and whatever your training is tailored to you personally, not what someone else has done that you adopted for yourself.
100%. I remember back in the day, everyone was afraid to run a mile. They thought they were going to lose, just their muscle was going to melt away.
It's like it's gonna melt, so like it's gonna fall off.
That's funny. So last question, do you have any strange fitness habits or, anything quirky or strange? Like personally, I put olive oil on everything. I know it's diet related, but do you have anything like weird or quirky like that?
I like to eat a lot besides that. Like I eat during my training. Like I bring snacks with me into the gym.
Really?
I bring snacks like when I go and like bike for 1 or 2 hours, I bring snacks. Like I have food with me. On runs, I bring snacks with me. Like I'm always eating. Like I'm constantly hungry. Even though like when I go to dinners, my girlfriends are like, "You need to eat more." I'm like, "Don't worry, I've had like 5 meals already. Like I'm fine. I'm good." So that's my only weird thing is I have food wherever I go.
That's funny. All right, no, that definitely counts. Well, that concludes episode number 7. I really appreciate the insight. You offered a lot of value tonight.
Thank
Thank you.
you for having me, Jonathan.
You're welcome. I'll hit stop, but then I can say bye in a second.